All right, today we're going to talk about algorithms. But no, not just the stuff that runs your social media feed. We're going to look at algorithms as this really powerful mental model, a kind of hidden code that helps you understand, well, pretty much everything. I mean, this quote from Yuval Noah Harari just nails it, right? It perfectly captures the scale of what we're talking about. You've got algorithms in our DNA's genetic code, and you've got them in your simple morning routine. They're all just step-by-step procedures that produce consistent outcomes, and they govern biology, society, and yeah, even our own decisions. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get a handle on what algorithms truly are. Then, I'll give you a little toolkit for spotting them out in the wild. After that, we'll look at some absolutely incredible real-world examples. See how you can actually start programming your own life. And finally, we'll explore why even the best algorithms just don't last forever.
So, first up, what do we actually mean when we say algorithm? I want you to just forget the complex math and the computer science for a second, because at its core, it's a really simple and very human idea.
You know, the best way to think about it is like a recipe. Seriously, a recipe is just an algorithm for turning ingredients, your inputs, into a delicious cake, the output. It's a repeatable, step-by-step procedure. Your morning routine? That's an algorithm for turning a sleepy you into a ready-for-the-day you. It's all about the method. Now, this is where things get really interesting. This is the big mental shift. Algorithmic thinking moves our focus from a single, one-off event to the underlying system that created it. So instead of just reacting to an outcome, you start to analyze the repeatable process. This is the difference between just hearing a story and truly understanding a system. So let's get that toolkit I mentioned. The philosopher Daniel Dennett gave us these three brilliant, super simple properties to test if something is a true algorithm. And if a process has all three of these, bingo, you've found one.
Okay, number one is substrate neutrality. This just means the logic works anywhere. A recipe works whether it's on a fancy iPad or a stained piece of paper. Number two, underlying mindlessness. Each step is so simple, it requires zero special judgment. All the intelligence is baked into the design, not in doing the steps. And finally, number three, guaranteed results. Put the same inputs in, and you must get the same outputs out. That's what makes an algorithm so reliable and, testable.
All right, now for the fun part. Let's see some powerful, real-world examples of these rules in action. And we're going to start with one you'd probably never expect. No, seriously, think about that for a second. It's a huge problem, right? You've got this crew of pirates. They can't rely on trust, there's no national law, no shared values. How on earth do you make that a successful business? Well, turns out you need a brilliant algorithm. And the solution was a governance algorithm. The pirates would draft these formal articles, basically a constitution. Captains were elected. Pay, the plunder, was defined way in advance. Simple rules were enforced without a single exception. And what did this do? It created accountability, and it made pirate ships some of the most effective, and weirdly enough, some of the most democratic organizations of their time. Okay, let's jump forward to the modern world. This single number, holds the key to how one of the world's biggest companies was able to scale without completely collapsing under its own weight. So, what could it possibly represent? It's the two-pizza team rule from Amazon. It's a simple organizational algorithm that Jeff Bezos designed specifically to fight bureaucracy. By keeping teams tiny, giving them complete ownership and forcing them to communicate through structured channels instead of endless meetings, Amazon avoided the communication chaos that just cripples most big companies. Simple rules, absolutely massive impact. Okay, this is all fascinating for pirates and tech giants, but what about us? How can we actually use this in our own lives? Let's bring this all the way back home and see how we can apply this kind of thinking for better personal outcomes. This shows how you can build these simple if-then personal algorithms. What these rules do is they offload the need for willpower when you're in the heat of the moment. They let you pre-decide your response when you're calm and rational. You're basically programming your future self to make better choices. It's a total game changer. But there's a really critical warning here. You have to be careful of the perfection trap. A good algorithm needs a clear stopping point. An algorithm that's designed to just keep running until something is perfect, well, that's not an algorithm, that's an infinite loop. You have to aim for directionally correct, not perfect. Trust me, good enough is often the most effective solution. And finally, let's look at this essential but really often overlooked concept, this simple fact that every single great algorithm eventually fails. This is this idea of algorithm environment fit.
An algorithm is only as good as its fit with the world that it's operating in. I mean, think about Kodak. They had a perfect algorithm for developing film, but it became completely obsolete when the world went digital. The algorithm didn't break, the world changed around it. Every single algorithm has an expiration date.
And that right there leaves us with a final and pretty important question to ask ourselves. From the processes you use at work to your personal habits and your mental models, which algorithms are you still running that were designed for a world that just doesn't exist anymore? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.